listening to the Savvy Musician Show with Leah McHenry, and this is your secret weapon for success in the new music industry.
Welcome once again to the Savvy Musician Show. This is CJ Ortiz, and I am a resident branding and mindset coach in the Savvy Musician Academy. Delighted to be co-hosting this podcast with the wonderful and talented Leah McHenry. Leah, how are you doing?
Doing great and very pumped for this show.
5-part series we've been doing on why your music isn't making any money. I bet that is probably the biggest question on every musician's mind who's trying to make money with music. Outside of that, it's people asking, can you make money with music? Nowadays, they got to get past that first dilemma. Can you make money with music? Then they say yes. Then they try. And our target market tends to be those who are trying. They're doing what they can. They try to put up a website. They try to get on a Bandcamp or a CD Baby or what have you, maybe send out an email here and there, and they are frustrated. They can't figure out what in the world they're doing that is just leading to no results. And so that's what this 5-part series is all about, is to answer those questions, why your music isn't making any money. And in the first two, we talked about Leah website. We talked about the user experience. We talked about as that relates to a online store, the shopping experience. That was really, really illuminating. And I would encourage everybody to go back and if you haven't heard those first 2 episodes of this 5-part series, I want you to go back and check that out, because I'm serious. There's stuff that you could get by just with if you just learn some of the things about user experience that Leah shared there, I guarantee you it would start making tremendous differences in your outlook on this stuff. Yes, there's a whole lot more to learn, but some of these fundamental things is where everybody fails. In today's episode, we want to talk to you a little bit more about the next step, which is something that people really struggle with, which is asking for a sale. I want to talk more about in just a second. But Leah, I mean, again, we've been adding these student spotlights, which I think has been wonderful. And because there's a lot of wonderful people in the group, and it's great to see people having their questions answered and overcoming some of the hurdles that have been stopping people, like some of the stuff we're talking in this podcast series. Mm-hmm. But in today's student spotlight, I wanted to share from one of our elite students, Wendy Nicole Hall. She wrote, "Taking the step forward in my business. It made me feel, or is making me feel, legitimate. My creativity is oozing again. I played a venue the other night, and it was the most confident I've been on stage, and I've never been confident on stage. I've always been a giant shaking, I don't belong here chicken. I don't wince when people ask what my business is. I'm proud of my website, which is awesome, but it will get better. And I don't listen to my music and think it sucks. I don't know if it's all directly a product of this course, minus the website, but it's definitely influenced by it. Talking to you, Leah, she says, you don't just teach, you edify. I'm not surprised at your surmounting success. You have so much more to reap. Hashtag grateful."
That was so sweet. I was
awesome?
like, man, yeah, it just gets me right in the heart when I read those ones.
Well, you know, Leah, you've made a tremendous difference in people's lives, and which, you know, this is not what you've done before. You were just a mom. Not to say just a mom is bad, but
right.
You know, you were handling kids, and obviously, you know, having a desire to do these things. And, you know, it's great that the Savvy Musician Academy is here for people, you know, to get through. But when you did it, you didn't have really anybody.
No.
I mean, you're slugging this out by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had all the stuff that we've given to people. I wish I had access to it. I feel like I would have been miles ahead of where I am now, light years. And I always tell our students too, like, the stuff you guys have access to inside these courses is more than I ever had when I started Savvy Musician Academy. And we've gone on to do, you know, multiple 7 figures. And you guys have access to a lot more than I did. And look at what you could do with all of this. So, you know, I hope people get encouraged by that.
Yeah, I want them to really take possession of the principles. This is something I teach in my coaching groups. I tell people all the time, listen, what we're teaching you, these are principles. These are proven principles. Leah's done this. Okay. She learned it. She paid the price when there wasn't the resources available like she's offered to you now. She paid the price, the sweat, she put in the time, she paid thousands of dollars to learn all this stuff and then put it all together to help other people do it without having to go through what she went through. But you have to own these principles. You know what I mean? They have to become a part of you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's the only way. You are going to be your own marketing director. And, I know a lot of people want to feel like they can just pawn this off to somebody else. But even if you do have somebody helping you, it is so important that you understand the fundamental principles that are being taught. But I think, again, Leah, what people struggle with, which is, the topic of this particular episode is, man, they don't, how do you sell? I mean, how many times have you heard somebody say, I'm not a salesperson?
Oh yeah, every day. Yeah, I don't like selling. It's slimy. I don't know, and I just feel desperate. I don't like it. So it just feels icky and gross to sell to people, and we're just uncomfortable with it, especially as artists. And I would like to talk on that and touch on that a little bit about that. And just to give you guys a little background on me, like I have no formal sales training whatsoever. I've never taken a course on sales. I haven't even really read books on how to sell. Nothing really directly. I've learned copywriting, and by learning some of these basic fundamentals, I learned how to sell. And it was actually copywriting that taught me how to sell. I didn't have to read a
Yeah.
book on how to sell. So there's, I don't believe in high pressure tactics and all those kind of weird things you would learn in certain circles. For me, it was just like how to put myself in the shoes of my potential customer and think like them and talk like them and speak to their hearts. And that's really the best way to sell anything. And we're going to get into that. And I just want to encourage you, though, that I have no background in selling, and I'm doing multiple six figures in my music career. And then Savvy Musician Academy's gone on to do multiple seven figures, millions of dollars in the coaching aspect of things. And I never share this stuff. I'm actually uncomfortable sharing it with you, but I do it because you need to know that if a stay-at-home mom of 5 kids who has no formal training, no marketing degrees, no formal sales training at all can learn to do this stuff just from picking up some of these principles, then you can absolutely do that. So that's why I share it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we do hear this all the time, and especially the creative souls, the artists, the musicians, the idea of being a salesman. Think of a used car salesman or somebody going door to door and selling. But in essence, we are all salespeople to some degree. I mean, I could take the average mom and get her talking about her kids, and guess what? She's going to sell me her kids. You're going to sell whatever you believe in. Your favorite TV show that you've seen, so you saw some series on Netflix, you start telling other people about it, you're selling it. Selling is something we do all the time. Selling is just a part of life. It's a part of commerce. We all buy stuff. Therefore, we are all sold. It's just the issue is, do you believe in what you're selling? And that's going to be important, because if you're creating music that you're pushing out to the marketplace, how important is it going to be that you believe in it? Do you believe in your music enough to sell it? Do you think for those who would like your particular genre of music, do you think that their life would be enhanced, that what they enjoy music for, their experience is going to be enhanced if they get to have the opportunity to hear your music, own your music? Well, then why would you withhold from them?
Yeah.
Simply because you're reluctant to say, here it is, buy it.
Yeah, that's so good. Absolutely. And as for the how, we're going to get into some of the how in this episode. There's a couple of direct methods that I use that I've learned, and no one ever really told me about this stuff, but they are things that I've recognized now. Oh, this is what this is, and this is what this is. And so I want to encourage you to take notes on this. And this hopefully is an episode you can return back to time and time again to just learn from it over and over again. And so one thing I want to encourage you guys is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's not going to feel natural when you first start asking for a sale. And I want to address the fact that most of you aren't asking for a sale. So you have not because you have not asked for it.
Right.
You're
That's
not
right.
asking for a sale. You're just putting your music out there, flinging it into outer space and expecting that maybe you're going to make some sales out of it. Or you post your website once in a while on your social media and think that, oh, people will find their way and then they'll eventually find your products and buy. That's not how it works. I think one of the main ways I do directly asking for sale is I do it through ads. I do it through email. We're going to be talking about those in the next couple of episodes as well. But let's talk about the techniques and about
Yeah.
the ways we do that.
Yeah. What are the best ways for fans to ask, or for people to ask their fans for a sale? Because maybe they just don't know how to do it. They say, okay, I'm open to sale, Leah. I'm open to be a salesperson to sell my music, Leah, but how?
Okay, so the first method that I use is, I'm calling it direct promotion. And this is like kind of based on the old school direct, what did you say, CJ?
Direct response marketing.
Exactly. Yeah, direct response marketing. And this is basically you are going directly to the person, right? And you are presenting them with ad copy. There's words and images used to motivate someone to do something. And it's very direct, right? It sounds just like the way it is. So this could be an email telling your subscribers about a new promotion or an album release or something. And the subject line might say album out now. And that's direct promotion, right? It's going to be, this is not soft selling. This is kind of hard selling, right? So it could also be a Facebook ad showing a specific album or a t-shirt to your warm audience. And warm just means that they know who you are. They know, like, and trust you. They've been following you for a while. They understand who you are. You're not brand new to them. Okay. So showing them an ad to a t-shirt or an album directly in their news feed, this is direct promotion. It's like, go here, buy now. Here's the link. It's take this action right now. And it's not, hey, by the way, if you feel like it someday, some year, maybe you would think about possibly supporting me as an artist. No. So yeah. So this approach works best, direct promotion, when your fans already know, like, and trust you. Now, I have had success with this with cold audiences where I'm marketing my album, showing ads to complete strangers who don't know me. But again, I've got my targeting so dialed in. I know these people based on, all my research I've done. And I know, and I'm willing to play with my money a little bit and risk that, hey, I could lose on this particular ad set and I might have to start a new one. But I'm willing to take that risk because my return on investment is pretty good other places. So, direct promotion works really well during other holidays like Black Friday, Halloween, Christmas, holidays. And you use this technique especially to advertise sales and discounts. And I just want to mention that I don't really believe that you need to discount your music heavily most of the time. You don't really need to do that. You're not making a lot on the actual CD sale anyways. So you don't want to heavily discount it, So that's a little side note. But direct promotion has a major role in your online marketing if you're not using it. I heavily used that sales strategy when I raised the 87, whatever, almost $90,000 into 30 days in my last crowdfunding campaign. Used a ton of direct promotion to a warm audience. I did not a lot of cold because by that time I didn't want to spend my money on people who didn't know who I was. Instead, I built up my audience for months and months ahead of time. So they already knew who I was and get all excited about the album release and the crowdfunding campaign by the time I launched it. So direct promotion should be happening. You can do it in social media. You can use it in ads, especially email marketing for sure. And any other place you can think of.
It's funny. I have one of my favorite bands just came out with their latest album, and I got emails about it. Album out now, right? I saw ads, sponsored ads on my Facebook feed. None of it offended me. None of it offended me. I wasn't put off by it. I love the band. I'm been waiting for an album to come out. So
and you weren't annoyed that you saw it a few times.
No, I wasn't annoyed that I saw it a few times. I kind of appreciated it. Why? Because they're making it easier for me. They're making it easier for me to buy. There's different ways that they're reaching me, but they're putting themselves. And I think it's really, even though I'm seeing them in both, email and social media, it didn't bother me because it's not overbearing. Now it's going to be where you almost expect it. You expect to see these things, much as the same as you expect to see commercials, when you're watching TV or something like that. But these are less annoying. But again, imagine if the commercial on while I'm watching the football game is a commercial of the album being released in my favorite band. I'd watch that commercial because it's my favorite band. And I think that's the part, Leah, that people miss. You kept talking about this, that people who know, like, and trust you. But it's the fact that these are people who love this kind of music. You're not putting it out to people who don't care. If your targeting is dialed in, you're sending these ads and emails to people who've already expressed that they love this kind of music. Why wouldn't they love to see, someone like yourself? So the fact that, here's the proof in the pudding that you did so much and continue to do so much to cold audiences. But like you said, because the targeting is dialed in, you're actually seeing sales. You're selling to people who've never seen you before.
Yeah.
So, but why would they buy?
Because I've dialed in the copy, which is the words we use to motivate people to action. So it's the description, and the little caption above the image or video that they're seeing. And well, the cold audience, I don't expect people to buy without ever have heard my music before. So oftentimes I am using a little video clip or something, where they're getting to a little taste of what it sounds like. Or on the page itself, there's, a player where they can play the music and hear it before they're buying. So, but I've optimized these things. I've tested all of this, and because I've got the targeting dialed in, and I know the avatar is basically, that just means like the profile of what kind of person this is. So I know, hey, Johnny lives in the UK and he listens to Nightwish and Epica and all these different bands. And I know he reads these blogs and reads these books, and he likes Game of Thrones, and he plays the Elder Scrolls Skyrim game. And I know all these different things about them that I can just target all that stuff on Facebook, and it reaches the exact person that I'm thinking of. And it's weird when it happens, because they're just like, oh my gosh, how have I not heard of this artist before? This is crazy. And then I can use direct promotion language, this direct response marketing, and it works amazingly. So I have had a lot of success targeting cold people because I've dialed all this stuff in. And that's why you want to do the work and research all this stuff.
Yeah. And there's the unspoken element here, which is something we've covered in the last 2 episodes about this. It is the user experience. So, when Leah says, she writing the copy and what she's showing on a video or what have you, it's well-written copy. These are well done graphics, images. She's thought through the user experience. And so, these things make this subconscious impression. Someone is being brought in by the simple fact that they like this kind of music. They've been targeted. But then Leah makes sure not to put anything that interrupts or puts them off or makes it a struggle, but just a nice, simple flow that keeps them moving along in what you might call that customer journey. And yeah, I mean, even you just think about it, going to a cold audience, but from an ad with a little clip to a page, sample something, but can actually lead to a sale from someone who's never heard of you.
Mm-hmm.
This was
all the time.
Never been done.
Right.
Ever.
Right. And that's why I said, hey, when I realized that I needed to stop treating my music business like musicians treat it and start treating it more like an e-commerce business, that's when really things took off. Because I was like, oh, people are buying online. That means this is e-commerce.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the best time to be doing it now. And so, yeah, it is so much of this, Leah, is such a simple mindset change. Well, simple in the sense that it's just the mindset that needs to change. Not so simple because it's a mindset that needs to change. And we tend to hang on to our previous mindsets. There are strongholds, if you will. And it's tough to be, the thought of them becoming salesy,
Yeah, nobody wants to be salesy. And that's the other reason why I love the programs we put together too, because we teach a lot of automation, right? So when you've dialed this stuff in, I mean, I'd say direct promotion is the scariest of all to musicians because you're so direct. You're kind of in your face. It's in your face, and that makes them very uncomfortable. And they don't want rejection, right? What's the root reason of why we don't want to sell? Is we're afraid of rejection. I think that's the biggest one. We don't want to turn people off. We're worried about pissing people off, like they'll be upset by these promotions or getting too many emails. I think a lot of our students they've told me they were afraid of sending too many emails. And guess what? What I've learned is the more emails I send, the more I make. So you know, yes, you get people unsubscribing. Get over it. It's not personal.
They weren't going to buy anyway.
Right. So, direct promotion has a huge place. I spend at least 50% of my time doing this sort of thing. So when I'm not running a promotion, like some kind of a sale, I am thinking of the next one I'm going to do, or I'm just running direct to sale ads. So I'm doing this 24/7 all the time throughout the year.
Well, there you go. The consistency thing. And I think that's a big issue. You see that with some of the group members where let's say, well, I haven't been doing anything for a while now. And they see something in the group that inspires them. They're going to get back to it, which is great. We want you to get back to it, but you're going to have to stay consistent if you're going to really build your footprint, establish yourself out there, and make those sales. But again, they're reluctant. They didn't get the results necessarily that they wanted, but that's what this is all about. There's so many things, there's so many variables involved, but still it's going to be the fundamentals that do it. But yes, you can make sales directly. You can literally have direct response marketing working for you. And it doesn't take all that long. And it really isn't that complicated. If you know your music, you know your genre, you know your culture, and you get a good idea of your avatar, your ideal listener, your ideal customer, man, nothing. The technology is nothing. The rest of it is downhill. The hard part is knowing those things, but believing that you can do this. You have to believe that it's okay to do it. If you run an ad, you're not going to be arrested. You're not going to be thrown in court and a jury judge you. That you know, there's no laws on the books that says you can't sell your music online. So stop thinking it's a moral, failure on your part. Oh my God, I ran an ad to try and sell my music. I've betrayed creativity. I've betrayed music itself. I'm trying to sell music. How dare I?
Right.
No.
So like signing to a label isn't selling out, but selling your music directly is.
Yeah. These are just mindsets, folks. And, it might feel like the mindset is glued to you, right? I would take the coat off if it wasn't stitched to me. It may feel like that mindset is stitched to you. But guess what? This is good news. You know why? Because we can change you. If the circumstances are just against you, if the music gods have just determined that you're not supposed to succeed with your music, no matter how many right things you do, well, we can't change that. But it's not up to fate. It's up to you. It's good news that it's just a mindset change that needs to happen, because we can change that. If it's something outside of you that we can't control, that's when you feel powerless. You should feel powerful with something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's
something else?
Oh, say that again, because I kind of interrupted you.
Okay. So what's something else they can do for promotion?
Okay, the second way that I promote is, instead of direct promotion, is passive promotion. So these are the two different styles, and I'm doing them both all the time, 365 days a year. So passive promotion is basically the relational side of marketing. It's what I call the art and science of crafting a fan journey or a customer journey. I like to call it a fan journey because these are fans. And, so the idea is, where does your fan initially meet you? Is it happening on your website? Is it through a hashtag? You'd be surprised how many people discover things via hashtags on Instagram. Is it a YouTube search, Facebook group? How are they entering into relationship with you? Are they engaging with your post? Some of you are doing ads where people are opting in to your email list from a free song. And yes, that still works. I've built my list to 50,000 that way. once they're on your list, how are you nurturing that fan and artist relationship? So this is all about the relationship end of things. And then, so for example, I highly recommend you having an automated email sequence. So that's where they sign up and you've already pre-written a whole bunch of emails. So you could have like 10 in there, and it's going to take your fan on this journey to get to know you, to get to know your music and occasionally your products. In the marketing world, they call that indoctrination. So if you,
they call it religion too, right?
Yeah. So like if you've ever opted into one of our freebies or something on Savvy Musician Academy, you probably got a whole bunch of follow-up emails from us. Hey, come listen to the podcast. Here's some other stuff. Here's the blog post. Here's all this stuff. Well, we are indoctrinating you. We're helping you understand what your problem is and what the solution is. We're helping you. We're taking you on a journey to hopefully educate you. And so that's, you can apply this to absolutely anything you're doing. And so in this passive promotion, you might be wondering, where's that come into play here? The passive promotion is as simple as adding something like a PS at the bottom of your email where they can buy the link, or go to the link to buy your album after you've already given them some value. So, this is very relational, and it's like, we call it soft selling. So, what's the difference? Direct promotion is like, album out now, buy here. Here's the link, right? Very just like it says what they need to know, straightforward. There's no beating around the bush. You don't need paragraphs in this. Passive promotion is relational and very soft selling. It's a, by the way, here's where you can buy. Definitely non-pushy. The problem is that I see musicians only doing this. That's the problem, is that you need both, but I see them only, they're very heavily weighted to this style. So, but a lot of them aren't even doing this either.
Right. And they're not doing it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a way, in my stuff, what I do with my motivational projects, there's a lot of the passive stuff because I'm giving them life counsel, right? So that's you're constantly delivering value to people. But what's interesting is that in my case, it builds a little sense of debt on their part. They feel almost obligated. And so what I started to do was to even position some of the things as a way to support, because they kind of almost look at it that way. They're not just buying it because they want to get it. They want to buy it because they want to support.
Yeah, this is an importance in sales psychology called reciprocity.
Yep.
Where you're delivering so much value that people are like, oh my gosh, I've never even paid this person. I've never even sent them anything, and they're giving me all this value. I should support them in some way.
Exactly. And if you give them a simple way to do that, like you said, it could be something as simple as a PS. It's not overbearing. It's not direct. It wasn't maybe the main point of that particular email or post or video, but very, very effective. Facebook Live is a great way to do that.
Yeah. And I love also Facebook Live. Yeah. You can come on, do content, show them around the studio, all that stuff. And here's the link. And the link can even be in the text of the live, or you can, Facebook doesn't love it when you take people off the platform, so you can mention it or put it in the comments below the video, that sort of thing. But I want to give an example of how passive promotion can also work in more of like an e-commerce style way. So for example, would be like, if you were to write a blog post, say on your website somewhere, and say it's a blog or news, something like that, and you can mention in there something about this new t-shirt, that you've launched, or the new design that you're working on or something. And in that blog post, you could link back to your shop, to the actual product page. And so you're not really saying, here's a new t-shirt, go buy it now. But by just mentioning it in your blog post with a link, so like a hyperlink in there, that's another way of soft selling. And you can do that in your emails as well. So whenever you're mentioning things,
the affiliate approach.
Yeah. So do this in your email. So it's like, hey, so say you're telling them a story about you writing new music this year. And you say, hey, so back when I was working on the last album, and the word album is highlighted and links to the product page, for example. So you're having linking throughout your content. That's a way of passive promotion, where you're not trying to directly promote something to make a lot of sales, but if people are interested, they're going to click on
That's a great way to do it, and just different developer emails. Hey, if you email, you have something you're it's amazing how easy it becomes to really weave this into all of your correspondence and engagement with your fan base. And I do love the fact that you call it the fans journey.
Yeah.
So,
And as for like creating like what to write and everything, I think actually a lot of our students, that's their biggest hang up is I don't know what to write. I don't have that much stuff to talk about. Believe me, I feel the way too. You might think that I have so much to say and like look at my life, it's so weird and crazy, and it's true. And yet I face the same thing that you do. I stare at a blank page sometimes going, what am I going to say here? So just so you know, the next episode, we are talking about email marketing, and I'm going to give you guys a few ideas of things that you could be talking about. I actually provide in our courses like a big list, a huge list. And believe me, you will never run out of things to say. You're never going to run out of things to talk about when it comes to your music career, things that your fans want to know about. Again, put yourself in their shoes. It's about what do they want to experience? What do they want to know? What are they fascinated by? What can you give them? Value, value, value. It's all about them. It's not about you. We're going to come back to that in the next episode in email marketing.
Wow. Yeah, this is the case, if once you understand how, and you have clear steps for accomplishing some of these things and achieving your goals, you know what? You're not going to need any cheerleaders to motivate you. I've always found that the strongest source of motivation is from ourselves, and the way to unearth it is to learn how to do something. So you want to get your motivation unlocked, learn as much as you can about some of the things that Leah is teaching, and I guarantee you're going to find all the motivation. You're going to be the last one to bed and the first one up, because you're going to be so excited because you're going to finally understand how. What a powerful, powerful thing, and how motivating it is. An unending supply of motivation is going to come from inside you. You don't pour gasoline on top of a car to get it to go. It's got to come from inside. And the way to unlock that motivation is to learn how. And so, Leah, thank you for teaching everybody to learn how.
Oh, you are welcome. I hope you guys got a ton out of this. And if you did get something out of this episode, please share it. It's really going to help us get the word out to other musicians, to help as many people as we can. We're kind of on a mission here, which is to change the face of the music industry, because it changed. If we feel like the table got flipped over in front of our eyes, and we want to flip it over again and in the favor of the artist, right? So we're on a mission here to try and help as many independent artists out in the world succeed. And you can help us do that by sharing this episode, sharing this podcast with another musician who's struggling, who needs to hear this. Who is that person? Somebody just popped into your mind right now. So share it with them. And then also give us a rating on the show. That also helps us get into the search results on, in iTunes and the different places, so that other people can discover it. So we appreciate that. That's the only thing we ask for in return. And if you enjoyed this, we would sure love to hear from you. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care.
This episode was sponsored by the Superfan System Elite program here at Savvy Musician Academy. If you are looking to scale your existing music business and you're looking to get into advanced digital marketing, such as email marketing, funnels, e-commerce, Facebook ads, and more, and you're looking to build a real profitable online music business, book a call with our team at www.callsma.com. We would love to speak with you for about 30 minutes and see how we can help you. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more episodes, and we'll see you next time.